Back to the channel. Good to have you here as always. So this week I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm kind of paying homage to this one band, the band that brought everyone together, the band that almost united skinheads, punks, metalheads, and everyone else. Yeah. That legendary band, of course, is Motörhead. That's who I'm going to be talking about today. One of my favorites, and I'm sure one of your favorite bands, and should be everyone's favorite. And to pay homage to Lemmy, of course, Jack and Coke.
Ready?
Wink, wink. It's actually coffee. And hey, if you want to buy me a coffee, donations appreciated. All the links are in the description below. So Motörhead, yeah, that legendary band fronted by Ian Lemmy Kilmister, started in 1975 after Lemmy was fired from his previous band Hawkwind, and he formed Motörhead with a couple of other guys who didn't last long. He soon replaced him with two phenomenal members who became classic Motörhead, Fast Eddie Clarke and Filthy Animal Taylor, and they became the legend that is Motörhead. In the beginning, it was pretty small beginnings. They did, of course, have a massive rise to fame with the release of their song Ace of Spades. That shot them to stardom. And around that time, they were performing. They've always been performing. They were performing right up until Lemmy passed in 2015. But in their early gigs, which are always around the UK, and a lot of their gigs, even right up until the end, are all throughout the UK, but a lot of their gigs were attended by metalheads, of course, punks, and skinheads. Yeah, a lot of skinheads actually used to go to Motörhead shows. Skinheads do actually love Motörhead music. And that was something I noticed in my years of being with skinheads and around punks and metalheads. Everyone loved Motörhead. Everyone. I didn't meet a single skinhead or punk or metalhead who didn't like Motörhead. I probably wouldn't want to meet them if they didn't anyway. But that kind of surprised me because I know there was such a divide with music. You know, metalheads didn't listen to punk back then. Punks didn't listen to metal, and they especially didn't listen to oi. Some of the punks did, I'm sure. There was more similarities between punk and oi than what there was metal. It surprised me when I see all these skinheads going, oh, I love Motörhead, Ace of Spades. Huh, okay, so what is it about Motörhead's music that really brought them all together? Despite Motörhead being tagged as metal, Lemmy actually considered himself more punk than metal. He had an affinity with punk music. I mean, he wrote the song Ramones. He actually performed that song with the Ramones on stage. He loved punk. He loved the old school punk, and he considered himself more of an anarchist than anything. And he was a very unique individual, and he just didn't give a fuck. Really didn't. He didn't care about politics. He didn't care about race. He didn't care about your beliefs or religion. In fact, he was actually agnostic. So I think that helped for the broader appeal. And especially because a lot of the early Motörhead was more punk, but it was fast-paced, and everyone liked that. Especially in the 80s, everyone liked a bit of the go fast. They like to get ramped up and go to gigs, and Motörhead were the fastest, the loudest, and the heaviest rocking band around at the time. So if you want to go to a good gig, you want to get some aggression out, you want some energy, yeah, you'd go to a Motörhead show. And it was not uncommon to see skinheads in the mosh pit, with punks and metalheads, and all just having a great time. They were there for the music, and they were there for Lemmy and what he brought to them. But Motörhead was one of those bands that didn't just blur the lines, they blew them apart. You know, they were just so out there in everything they did. They were pioneers. In fact, their influence pretty much created speed and thrash metal. You know, most of the original speed and thrash bands have stated that Motorhead was their biggest inspiration. Those super fast intros, Lemmy's ripping Rickenbacker bass, going for it. You know, and Phil Taylor's double kick, oh man, yeah, that really got you pumped up. And that was thrash. That was, oh man. So it covered all bases, that's for sure. And as they progressed through the years, it just got better and better. And even Lars Ulrich from Metallica said that, you know, Lemmy was one of his biggest inspirations and it made him want to be in a band. It was also Lars who actually said in an interview that Motorhead brought everyone together, including skinheads, punks, and metalheads. So it was known that Motorhead's music did bring everyone together, as crazy it was. And why is that unusual? Well, like I said before, there was always a lot of division with music. And, you know, you wouldn't get punks going to metal shows, you know, and you wouldn't get skinheads going to punk shows, you know, especially if they were right-wing skinheads. So Motorhead really stood out in that respect. And then, of course, there was the image of Motorhead. You know, Lemmy dressed in, you know, leather with spikes and bullet belts and denim and, you know, looking like a biker out of hell. And, you know, he's got Nazi patches on his jacket. And I was like, whoa, this guy is like the ultimate, man. And that brings me to a bit of controversy about Lemmy and why many skinheads do actually like him. And it's because he was actually a militaria collector. More specifically, World War II and German militaria. Now, Lemmy was not a racist person at all. So yeah, a little bit of controversy, but Lemmy has stated it many, many times that he's not racist. And, you know, there's a video of him giving advice to a young black metal fan.
Kick-ass metal band. My problem is, since I'm black, other blacks put me down and say that I'm a disgrace to the colour. Tell them to shove it, boy. Jimi Hendrix did all right, remember? Being like that about another colour is the same as Hitler was about being Jewish and about other colours. You cannot be just one colour. If the bloody thing is ever going to work out properly, then we all have to intermarry and screw each other blind and get to be coffee-ish. But then we'd still find people that were lighter than those guys, right? You can't win with that one, but you can win by just doing it. Tell them to go to hell.
By the time Lemmy left us in 2015, rest in peace, Lem, Motorhead had actually produced 22 studio albums and they had toured for the most part of their 40-year career. They were constantly on the road. They were constantly performing because they love to perform for their fans. They love nothing more than being on stage, feeling that energy, seeing everyone having a great time and loving their music, because that's what Motorhead was always about. And it goes to show that music can really unite people. It brings everyone together. And I just love that Motorhead has had such a universal appeal for so many different groups around the world. I have seen so many different covers of Ace of Spades. Like, here's a couple of them.
To lose when gambling's for fools, but that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever.
I said pushing up the ante. You want to see me reel and wing the dead man's head again? Yeah, I see it in your eyes. You take one look and die. The only thing you see, you know it's gonna be the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. All right.
Now, for me, unfortunately, I never actually got to see Motorhead perform live. I missed out 3 times on seeing them live, but I did actually get to meet Lemmy in 1999. And it was, to be honest, one of the greatest moments of my life. Met him at a strip club in LA, of course. He was playing the video poker machines. I went up and had a chat to him, and he was super gracious, super cool. Last thing he said to me is like, keep the faith, brother, keep buying the albums. And I did. Got to take Lem's advice for sure. And when it comes to Lemmy, Lemmy was a real deal, man. He was an amazing guy. He was a caring, loving guy who lived life his way, born to lose, live to win. You know, and that inspired many, many people. And that's why people looked up to him from every group, including the skinheads, the punks, the metalheads. Everyone admired Lemmy, and he is very sorely missed all the time. There'll never be another band like Motörhead. There'll never be another Lemmy. Fortunately, we have his legacy of 22 studio albums and everything else that they produced. There's been countless documentaries. In fact, there's a new one coming up on Netflix soon about Lem. I'll definitely be checking that out. Motorhead definitely shaped my life, and listening to Motorhead, I knew that it was inclusive, that I could listen to this with so many different people. Rest in peace, Lemmy. The rockers, the punks, the metalheads, the skins, the rusters, the boot boys, everyone. We all miss you, Lem. Rest in peace, man. Alrighty, so there you go, Motorhead fans. Thanks for tuning in for another week. Hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, go crank up some Motorhead. Go put on your favorite Motorhead album, and do some headbanging for Lem. But I will see you on Sunday for another awesome video. And hey, if you want to keep supporting the channel and keep supporting this guy and keep watching and all that good stuff, many different ways you can support me. You can buy me a coffee. It's actually coffee, not Jack and Coke. You can buy merchandise, Patreon, super likes, also have membership on this channel. But as always, if you can just give this video a big like, subscribe down below and hit that little bell to get notified, you'll be seeing new videos from me each week. Thanks so much. See you on Sunday. Peace out, and love and light to you.